It's interesting because at the moment they call it non-R&D innovation. So what you and I are helping companies with is non-R&D innovation. And I mean, I don't want to talk Zoom up because I'm kind of sick of it, but that is an adoption of an existing technology that can add value the smallest way. As long as it's new to the company, it still adds value. So what companies, what organizations do, they just want the glossy case studies of we've had a big product innovation and we've helped them innovate in the public sector. And that's all they care about. So by chasing that KPI, they miss all of the designers, the marketers, the engineers, the technicians, everybody.
I know that your PhD research is at CSIRO about small, medium enterprises. So can you elaborate that area a little bit more, like with your I'm sure that you have a lot of interesting findings, but you know, you can tell me as much as you want. I can always edit it to multiple videos.
So the flagship program around Australia is to support the small and medium-sized businesses called the Entrepreneurs Program. So there's different divisions of the Entrepreneurs Program. There's commercial, what used to be called Commercialisation Australia, and they help to find the startups who haven't yet got a product on the market that they think is really, really attractive and better for Australia's competitive, you know. So it has to be aligned with one of those sectors. In that case, they'll match up to $500,000 investment. So the startup, as long as they can contribute a certain amount, the government or us, the taxpayer, will contribute another half, and that will be managed in order to get the product onto the market. That's one. But I went into CSIRO and their prerogative is to increase industry researcher collaboration, which means get the small businesses to collaborate with the universities and also CSIRO, because we don't want to. You know why? Because everybody's chasing the blue sky innovation. It's not working, and it's no matter how many reports they do, and they've had 150 in the last 25 years, extensive reports on how to improve it that we pay for, it's not working. So that's what I found out.
It's to be honest, it's actually quite alarming, and
very alarming.
I think I always believe that there's a report, they always have a good intention, but then they're not very future proof. And in a way, the events of 2020 kind of proven that to be the case. And you know, it's like, you know, I mean, I can imagine that the majority of the researchers for those reports, they had the best intention.
Of course, but, you know, of course, everybody does. But if the system's not geared towards, if the system's not geared correctly, which it's not. So the facilitators who I worked with in the Entrepreneurs Program on the ground, they're fantastic. They go out and find companies, they find gaps in their knowledge and skill sets, and then they match them up with public sector. But the thing is, they're not allowed to help after that R&D project. And that's when it gets put into this glossy case study. Hello, have a look at us. Aren't we innovative? But are we? We're not really exploiting that innovation. We're just adding more product R&D, sometimes unnecessarily.
It's sometimes, I think it's a very interesting thing, because from a marketing perspective, that sometimes many marketers would, well, for example, myself, that being a content marketer, would work with people in R&D, and that might become the narrative of the company image. However, is it actually doing that? Because, you know, like you said before, between R&D and the marketing, there's a gap there. There's development, there's product, and further research and everything. But I think what we found, if you may, what 2020 had found, is that when you don't follow, when you don't complete that journey and just jump from R&D into image building in marketing, it's look, I mean, yes, I'm one of those people guilty. You know, not the worst case offender. Like I wasn't, okay, but it's true, because but actually speaking of that, so how did the event of 2020 affected your area of work in R&D?
Well, one of the things I realized out of my research, that's one of the main things I found, was that the technology function and the marketing function need to work together the whole time, because as you're designing a product, if you're talking about a new, whether it's going to be modular or how it's going to be pieced together, you want to be talking to the people who are talking to the customer needs. So all of it can't be disconnected. It has to be almost one department. And that's one of the most important things we found. That, and you need to actually work on your existing products for your existing customers at the same time as searching for new products for new markets. And it's hard to split that role, but job descriptions at the moment don't reward it. Because if you're actually looking for a new product in a new market, you may be cannibalizing sales of the existing product. And the ability to say, well, we're going to lose some sales of this product, but in the long term, we've got another venture out there. So, back to the question about COVID, I've just put it together in a company. And that's what I've just accelerated, ready to help these SMEs. Yeah.
Fair enough. So my friends that work in sales had a really stressful year because they want to make sure that they meet their KPI. But like you said, that they are, it's more likely they would achieve their KPI with an established product. But then that means the space for innovation to give that chance for something new becomes something. I don't understand entirely how sales work. I mean, it's too stressful for me. I'm just a person who talk rubbish on the internet to promote stuff. But I think it's a very interesting gap that there's all these different departments working in silos that it's not very helpful.
If you look at all the other companies out there, they're trying to help SMEs by leveraging the R&D and gearing or aligning themselves with where the handouts are for government. But I've kind of gone, well, I don't think that's working, and I really think I can create value for companies after R&D in those steps and help them make fast and effective decisions around that.
Based on what I can see on the news, that it feels like public resources might not be fast and effective enough, particularly for parts of the economy like small to medium businesses, social enterprise, or people a little bit older.
And what we try and do, we try and leverage what they've already got, and that's the capabilities that they have before we talk about building and acquiring new ones. That's the system.
I think it's very important that way, because work what you got. I wonder, what do you enjoy the most about working on your own business?
Working on my own business, I like the fact that you yourself can make things happen fast. I've got a really good couple of workers that I've got that help me, on a freelance basis, and then as I build. The thing is, you don't have to sit there and wait for things to be approved. You can make fast, effective decisions in your own business, and things can happen rapidly. Like in what I've seen in working in larger companies before, to get something implemented, the amount of steps it has to take is just ridiculous. But if it is your own business and you've done your homework, so your decisions are pretty well founded, you can move really quickly.
We want to make things happen. And then sometimes there are limitations in a bigger organization or businesses that there are processes involved, and I respect that. But sometimes it just a little, and the thing is, because we come up with those ideas and strategies, so we are accountable for those things. So we'll give it the best, shot, or the best.
Yeah. So small service providers like you and I, because I mean we're an SME or an SMB. So where we can really add value is, now that these companies are more comfortable with outsourcing and having remote staff, we can plug into their organization and help them think more agile and think more entrepreneurial, and enable them to do a lot more. They can leverage our capabilities, and that's where I think there's a really good fit for small service providers like us.
Yeah, it's well, look, I mean, it's just one of the. I think we're in a world that we need to see things as an opportunity. And I think you would be the same, that I chosen to look at everything under silver lining or whatever, with silver lining or something like that. And, we just kind of do our best. And so now,
that's right.
Now, finally, this is a strange question. In a parallel universe, it's a parallel universe question. So in a parallel universe where you would work in the different field, what profession do you think you'll be working in?
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? You know what? I remember I grew up in the country, very, very small country town near the ocean, down the Great Ocean Road. And
Hmm.
I used to really, really love marine biology for some reason. So I love the water. So maybe I could be like a marine biologist in a completely
Wow.
alternate world, but it certainly hasn't gone that way. Yeah.
Lucas, thank you so much for your time for taking part in this interview. Get chatty about your local businesses.
Okay,
Now,
thank
do you
you.
mind telling people how they can find you?
LinkedIn, you can find me, and newledge.io, which is NEWLEDGE.io. And feel free to contact me, my email address as well, Lucas, LUCAS, @newledge.io. Happy to help, and I think we can create a lot of value together. So be happy to hear from any small businesses with a product that they want to increase the value of and or save some money in their business.
Send an email, send a message, see how it all goes. Seriously.
That's
And
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in that case, thank you so much for taking part in this, and good luck with New Age. And all the contact information are underneath this video. And yeah, so let's keep on chatting about businesses.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.